poll mark, which is the for the Kappa Leaguers, the highest undergraduate position within our province. So definitely looking out for the undergraduates on all facets. And so we are very excited to share our campus with you all today and be a part of the first virtual tour for Kappa League this year. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick. All right, everyone can see that? All right, cool. So just a little agenda for today. First, we're going to introduce the brothers that are on the yard. There's currently 10 of us. So we're all just going to give a little quick introduction. Then we have a video to show you all that gives a little synopsis of our campus, as well as some of the Greek life activities that we do on campus. We will talk about admissions, what people want to see when you get in, the different expenses, stuff like that. Then we will also have a student athlete who is on the call talk to you. He is a brother of the Beta Omicron chapter, but he graduated last year, and he is gracious enough to come back and return and speak for you all today. And he was also on the football team with the full ride. So if you have any questions, he's definitely the guy to talk to. Moving on after that, we're gonna have a little talk about, being on a PWI, how that might be different than an HBCU. And we're just gonna keep it real, keep it honest, and we're hoping that we can have, a good feedback from you guys. Any questions you may have, please put them in the chat. And don't be shy. We're trying to make this very, inclusive, and anything you guys want, we're trying to hear to answer. And then finally, we'll just talk about, Greek life some more, a little bit more about the other orgs on our campus, and then do a quick little Q&A if you guys have more questions at the end. And we'll let Brother Murray and the rest of the team also have a little chance to talk. So hopefully you guys enjoy the program, and we're gonna get it started. So yes, University of Wisconsin-Madison, Beta Omicron chapter. And I'm now going to hand it over to the poll mark of our chapter, Brother Jacoby Robertson.
All right, hey everybody. My name is Jacoby Robertson. I'm part of the poll mark of the Beta Omicron chapter. I'm a kinesiology major, and I'm also a fifth year. Something about the chapter that you guys may not know is we were the first Black Greek letter organization in the state. We were chartered on April 22nd, 1946.
Hi guys, my name is Brandon Dawn. I'm currently the vice poll mark of the Beta Omicron chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated. And yeah, hopefully you will have a great event with y'all today.
How's it going, everybody? I'm William Walker. I'm the keeper of exchequer of Beta Omicron chapter.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hi, my name is Emmanuel Agpan. I'm currently the keeper of records for the Beta Omicron chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm a junior. My major is industrial engineering. So any engineers out there looking towards engineering, you can talk to me at some point if you have questions.
For sure. Good to see y'all here. My name is Israel Obi. I'm a senior majoring in psychology, and I'm the social chair for the Beta Omicron chapter.
How's everybody doing? My name is Glenn Harris. I'm a proud 2017 graduate of Chicago Kappa League, so I'm very happy to be on this call. I am a finance and risk management and insurance double major from Frankfort, Illinois. Happy to see everyone.
What's good, everybody? My name is Shannon Jones. I am the academic chair for the Beta Omicron chapter. I'm a senior majoring in personal finance from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm happy to see everybody here.
What's good, everybody? My name is Odo Elase. I'm a senior majoring in personal finance as well, but I'm also pre-law. So if you guys have any questions about those, feel free to shoot them in the chat. We'll be responding to them. I am currently the Brotherhood Chair for the Beta Omicron chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, and my hometown's Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joshua Badu. Right now, I'm the reporter for the Beta Omicron chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm majoring in bio on an emphasis of pre-med. If you have any questions about how to be pre-med and what majors you can choose, you can hit my line.
Right.
All right, up next, we will show a little video that will, show our campus and a little bit about our chapter as well.
It's fine. I'm just gonna be listening to it.
Touchdown, Wisconsin! catch by Quintez Cephas. It's driven down by Zach Bourne. Chris Orr with another sack. Jonathan Taylor is in for the second time today. Touchdown, Wisconsin! Zach Bourne, pick 6. And the Badgers will get their 4th shutout of the year.
What up, y'all? My name is Lexi, and I'm the editor-in-chief of The Black Voice, and we are coming to you live from the Welcome Black Barbecue, and we're going to tell you the advice that we wish we would have known our freshman year. So if you're looking for the keys to success, underclassmen, this is the best place to get it. Stay tuned.
Even though it seems like there's you sometimes feel isolated initially coming to campus being a Black Badger, but there's a tight-knit community that welcomes and loves everyone who comes in.
Utilize your resources. Go seek out tutors and mentors and advisors. Number one advice.
Like you belong here, because like people can easily get lost in that, and that like you gotta make sure that like to go ahead and utilize every resource you need. Don't feel intimidated because of the university, and that you feel like in competition with other people. Like you here for yourself, and you just gotta keep moving.
Make sure that you study. Make sure that you look for resources and actually use those resources. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Plug yourself. Also do that. Plug yourself. Always, okay? Let everybody know who you are. Do not be afraid to let yourself be known, okay?
Stay ahead of your work. Always study. Try not to fall behind. As long as you stay on top of it.
Talk to as many people as you can. Try to learn as much about yourself. Don't get caught up in the hype of the Wisconsin drinking culture. And basically just do what you want to do. Listen to your heart.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that little video. You know, just a quick synopsis of a little bit about our campus, you know, what we do. And so up next, I'm going to bring Israel Obi and Glenn Harris to talk about admissions to you all.
Sure. I can start off with this first slide. First, that was a great video. I love watching it. I think it really encapsulated not just like the general Wisconsin culture, but some of the best reasons of why it's amazing to be a Badger and our strong Black community here. But we're gonna dig into admissions, which is, I know a lot of you guys are worried about and thinking about as you're considering applying to schools in the next couple of months or a year. So let's just start with a couple of quick statistics. If we're just thinking about the gender breakdown, as you guys can see, there is a slightly stronger female presence on campus. In addition, to look at the racial breakdown for UW-Madison, you can see that, as you guys know, this is a public white institution. There is a majority of white students. However, we do have a strong Black community here, as noted in the video. I would like to say a couple of more things. Just thinking about the admission, the actual application, UW-Madison is on the Common App. And I'm not sure like what you guys have gone over in terms of like actual Common App application, but I think it's extremely important to understand your why and to specifically cater that to University of Wisconsin-Madison or the individual institution you're applying to, just to make sure that you're displaying why you think that you would be a great student there, and not just why you should be admitted, but why you could develop and make the campus even better. Also, I would say when you're thinking about the college application process, Israel is going to go through the actual cost of attending UW-Madison on the next slide, but worry about getting your acceptance first and then think about paying for it later. I would say that's some advice that I got when I was in your shoes, and it's definitely it was very valuable just because those prices are very high. But I mean, honestly, that's not anything you can worry about if you haven't even gotten into the school yet. So definitely make sure that you're getting those essays checked. You know your why, you've done your research. Please reach out to any of the brothers on this call. If you like some of the stuff that we were saying and you want to learn more about the school, we'd love to talk to you about it. And yeah, and then also make sure that your letters of recommendation are in tip-top shape, and that it's not just general broad kind of statements talking about who you are, but it really emphasizes that you were an excellent student above and beyond. You've done something that nobody else has done, and that you would definitely be a great addition to this school. Those are the things that really stick out, in addition to your test scores. And honestly, it may be a great supplement to your test scores or your GPA if they may not be standing out. So yeah, that's about it. Go to the next slide.
For sure. And yeah, Glenn went through a good majority of it. But like Glenn said, don't let the cost kind of deter you from applying or even being motivated to look at it. There's a lot of money out there. A lot of us in the chapter have scholarships, and it's not guaranteed, but never let the money stop you from applying. And if you want to find the money, if you want to get it, you can make it happen. So I'm just going to go over some of these numbers. You can kind of see them as I go through them. But for a Wisconsin resident, the tuition is around $10,000. And for a non-resident, it's around $40,000. And you can just kind of see the breakdown of the total cost of attendance for UW-Madison. And this is excluding things like financial aid, scholarships, and things like that, like Glenn kind of just said. And then you can go on to the next slide. Like we were saying, there are a lot of scholarships available. So over 40% of students at UW-Madison receive financial aid. And there are also multicultural full ride scholarships like People, Posse, Chancellors, Power Snaps, and First Wave. I personally am a People Scholar, and there are people in the chapter are different types of scholars. So again, don't let money deter you, right? UW-Madison is a great experience. College is a great experience, especially getting the chance to go to a university like this. And money is there. So apply and then look for those scholarships. That's something that I wish somebody had told me better when I was in high school, is that you need to look for scholarships. Scholarships won't necessarily look for you, and that they're there. And there's a lot of money out there. So definitely look for scholarships, ask around, call admissions, and you'll find your way to the school.
Absolutely. I was going to say, in Catholic Chicago, we were supposed to be trying to find at least a scholarship a day, because what you honestly will figure out is, even if it's not a scholarship for UW-Madison, the odds aren't really in your favor. So it's best to apply to as many as possible. I ultimately am a Chancellor Scholar, but I didn't figure out that I was going to get the Chancellor Scholarship, I think, until the end of March. And I just remember kind of trying to figure out how I was going to pay for school, and kind of like really stressed about it, talking with my parents. I saw those numbers that Israel was just talking about at the last page, and my parents were like, it's a no-go, that's too much. But I ended up filling out that application for the Chancellor Scholars, and they called me, and it honestly changed my life. So I didn't think I was going to be able to get it, but I did. So never count yourself out. And yeah. So yeah, I kind of talked a little bit about this on the first slide, but definitely just to go over it again. As you guys know, UW-Madison is a top tier institution. So the things that we are going to be looking for are grades, your standardized test scores. However, we also are looking into extracurriculars, your writing, and your letters of recommendation. Grades in your standardized test scores. They are extremely important, but at the end of the day, we don't just want someone who's smart and is just like, that's the best thing that they can offer. We want people who have been involved. We think that can positively impact the Madison community here. And they are kind of like know where or what they want in some way, shape, or form. So make sure that your grades and your transcripts are you're sending that and you have that uploaded on the Common App, and then you're also are supplementing that with sending your standardized test scores through those websites, and all your information is up to date. Yeah.
And it looks like there's a question in the chat. What is the minimum cumulative GPA required for admission? And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there is a minimum GPA. So there's no reason that you shouldn't apply. I believe the average GPA is around and Makai, do you know? I think it's around a 3.5, roughly that area. But again, people get in with all GPAs. It's really about how well-rounded you are as a student. And you all are part of Cap League, which is already a great first step that you have ahead of a lot of people who are also applying. So don't be discouraged by the GPA. The extracurriculars are also everything.
Actually, that's a really good point. I was gonna say, it also definitely think about which school that you plan on applying to. Just because like maybe if you're applying to the engineering school, like they may be looking for higher math and science scores in the ACT and like your previous performance in high school comparison to like if you apply to our letters and sciences school, which is more so liberal arts. So that definitely may influence what they're looking for and how you stand as a candidate. So definitely do your research there, because that could be the difference in like you getting accepted or not.
All right. Well, thank you, Israel and Glenn. If there are any more questions about admissions or anything related to that, still feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll come back to them whenever we can. Moving on to the next part, we are going to give a welcome to Brother Arrington Farrar, who is joining us from ATL. I think he's from Atlanta. He's in Atlanta right now. Yeah. You hear Arrington?
Yes. How's it going, brothers? And yes, I'm in Atlanta right now. I'm originally from Atlanta. I graduated 2019 across Kappa Spring 17, culture line. Played football freshman, sophomore, junior year. Didn't play my senior year. But by then I already had a job. So kind of worked out that way. But I'm prepared. I mean, I think you guys had some questions prepared for me. So happy to answer them. So I got my first offer in high school, I believe. Second semester. So yeah, this semester after my sophomore year, I think Wisconsin was one of the first 10 schools to offer me. I think I ended up with. South Carolina was first. I know. Hold on, sorry, it's my dad. He's telling me something real quick. Okay, he's also a noob. He went to tell you that. Beta Chi, Spring 83. Spring 83. But anywho, yeah, I got my first scholarship sophomore year. Spring semester was by South Carolina, was my first offer. Had plenty of offers. I think I ended up with over 40. I had all of them. I could have gone anywhere as a 4-star. But just kind of what it took to get those scholarships. Again, I'm a large individual. I was I think I was 6'2", 190 pounds by the end of my sophomore year. So that's one aspect you can't ignore. You got to pass the eye test. If you're not passing the eye test, guys, I would just tell you, I'm not going to tell you can't, but again, that's the first test you got to pass before anything. I would say during my decision-making process, it came down to University of Notre Dame, Stanford, Wisconsin, and UNC and Michigan. Stanford ultimately didn't work out. And then I think Wisconsin was the only place that had a top 15 business school and engineering school. And I always knew when I got to school, I wanted to squeeze everything the university had out of it, because when you're playing football, and actually when you're playing anything, you could be a rower, you could be a squash player, anything. When you're playing sports, you're going to take everything that everything you have to give, everything you have to offer. They're going to squeeze every last bit of it out of it. So your job as a student is to make sure you've done everything that you can to squeeze everything out of them. You got to get every benefit you can, every award or everything that you can do. I was on a panelist down in Texas for the Black Student Athletes Summit. I did everything you could possibly do except for start a football game at University of Wisconsin. I pledged Kappa. I was on playing e-boards. I did everything. I would just say, I wouldn't say I would change anything, but it's definitely important. If football is something you want to do, or sports in college is something that you want to do, I would just say, one, you need to make sure that you love the sport and you love doing it, because when you get there, you're gonna figure out if you love it or not really quick. Because it again is a very, very taxing thing. If I just walk you through a schedule, and I'll tell you the whole thing. So I woke up at 6 a.m., had lift from 7 to 8, had class from 8 to 3, and then from 3 to 5 we had meetings, and then from 5 to 7:30 we had practice. From 7:30 to 9:30 we had dinner. From 7:30 to 8:30 we had dinner. From 8:30 to 9:30 we had study table. And then from 9:30 to 10, if you're one of the lucky ones, your coaches will call you, ask them to watch film with you after all that. And I remember I was up there at 11 o'clock, and my coach was just kind of asking me, what's going on? You're not really getting the plays. This was also like my third week, my freshman year. And he was like, hey, what's up? Like, what do we need to do different? So he made me walk through my entire schedule in 30-minute blocks, the way I just did right there. And he told me I was sleeping too much after I slept 5 hours the day before. So I was like, Coach, I'm not sure what you want me to do. Like, I'm only sleeping 5 hours and I'm about to do it again tomorrow. He said, well, the more you sleep, the less you play. So if that's the type of deal that you want to do, also they have a joke where they say, you're an athlete. You're an athlete. You're an athlete. No, you say you're a student first, athlete second. So they do that all the time. Again, if you're considering sports, realize that these coaches are going to milk everything that they can out of you. So you need to do everything that you can to milk everything out of the scholarship, out of the university, everything you possibly can. And I think that that's what I did, because I stopped playing at 7 a.m. my senior year after camp, and by 7 p.m. I had a full-time job offer. And this was before I even started my senior year. And that was at BMO Harris in Chicago. And now I'm back in Atlanta working for Lennar as a land analyst. And again, like, I have amazing credentials, amazing resume. I'm studying for the CFA exam. And again, I keep achieving. I try to keep achieving, because achievement doesn't end once you leave the campus. But I would say that's my experience through football. Just, again, number one thing, make sure you love whatever you do, because you're going to find out real quick whether you like it or love it. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you.
Yeah, thank you, Arrington. Are there any questions? I don't know if Arrington plans on staying for the entirety. So if there are any questions that we have for him right now, we could definitely do that.
And you could just type them in the chat if not.
A question.
Yes, sir.
Of the students that come in as student athletes, when you played, the ones that started, how many of them actually keep the scholarship as they matriculate? Is that a big factor you watch out for as well?
So I was fortunate enough. One, they changed the rule before 2015. When you signed a scholarship, they were 1 year agreement. So you literally had to re-sign your scholarship year after year. But once, if you sign in high school, like I did, you sign your national legend in high school, you get 10 semesters to finish. I finished mine in 8. So again, I kept my scholarship even after I had stopped playing. So they still pay for everything, and I still get some benefits from that. So they paid for everything. They gave me all my checks, my cost of attendance checks. I still got all the benefits. I still had access to all the tutors, all the advisors, and everything. So it's just I just wasn't on the team. So, but now it has changed. If you sign in high school, you keep your scholarship. But if you come on as a walk-on and sign in college, sign a scholarship in college, that is something that you have to earn year after year.
When you say keep your scholarship, is it one where you keep your scholarship and you have to renew it every year, or once you sign, you actually have it?
It was like that before I went to college. So up until 2015, no matter whether you signed not in high school or was a walk-on and then earned a scholarship, you would have to renew your scholarship every year. So before each season, they would call you in and have you sign your scholarship, which is like, okay, we're renewing your scholarship this year. But starting in 2015, if you signed in high school, if you signed on signing day or whatever it is before you actually got on campus, you're given 10 semesters. Like you're guaranteed 10 semesters on scholarship unless you get popped for a test or do something, academic fraud or anything that would give them reason to take your scholarship. But if you do what you're supposed to do, and they have no right to take your scholarship, and that is yours for 10 semesters.
Excellent, thank you. Any recommendation you give to students on how to manage that process? Because we have a lot of students who are in sports and they're banking on basketball scholarships, football scholarships, and that type of thing.
I would say that's great. Keep trying, do everything you can. Make sure you stay in the gym, and do everything you can to become a better football player, basketball player, soccer player, tennis player, squash player, whatever you do. But I would also say you need to be putting that exact same effort into the classroom, because at the end of the day, I don't care if you're Tom Brady, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, or Warwick Dunn, or myself. The sport does end. Either your body's going to tell you can't do it no more, a coach is going to tell you can't do it no more, or a league's going to tell you can't do it no more. But at the end of the day, it will come, and you will look around, and you don't want to look around and realize, well, what do I do now? And then have to find a whole new passion when you're out of school. But while you're in school, you need to take, if you like chess, you need to go join a chess club. If you like anything outside of anything, you like math, you need to do something. You need to accounting, you need to make sure you have, I'm not saying a plan B, give everything you got to what you got, and that's what you're banking on, bank on that. But you need to explore all of your interests, because you're a dynamic person, and you need to make sure that you have dynamic interests, and that you need to be well-rounded all the way around. Again, that goes back to the admissions thing. If you just play sports, that's great, but what else do you do? Do you have good grades? Are you a whole individual? So I would say bank on that, keep going to the gym, keep in the weights, make sure you stay in questions and being a student of the game. But just as much as you're a student of the game, you need to make sure you're a student of something else. So when that transition comes, that transition is very easy. And you're not out there, doing this. Oh, what's next? What's next?
Brother Aaron, I have a question for you. You mentioned you got a scholarship going to Wisconsin. Can you give us the process of how Wisconsin came to you at your high school? What are they looking for as far as a university looking for a college athlete from high school to get that scholarship? What are they looking for?
They want playmakers. You gotta make plays. So you gotta have the tape. I was fortunate. I went to Woodward Academy. We're kind of, I would say, a little bit of a factory, but we actually have a guy. Yeah, we have the safety who graduated my 8th grade year is now, I believe, playing for the Buccaneers, and we've got a guy who plays for the Jets. We've got a couple guys now, Colts, whatever. But I would say my coaches had a good relationship, but every spring It would be like every other day a coach would be coming to visit, just seeing, because Atlanta is also a hot spot for recruiting. So they come in, they ask if you guys have any guys, and then they would, come get me out of class. I would shake the coach's hand. They look you up and down. That's the eye test. They want to see if like, okay, this looks like he can grow into something. He's got a good build to him. Then they look at your tape. And for me, I knew I had to make at least 4 to 5 plays a game. So I need 4 to 5 highlights a game to put together a whole tape to convince these dudes I'm a athlete, I'm a playmaker. And then again, another big thing is that a lot of these coaches don't necessarily, again, you got to qualify. But again, like, I don't think coaches really care that you're the greatest student. That's something you have to do personally, and you shouldn't allow that to be a crutch for you because but what they do want to see is they don't want somebody they have to chase around. So if you got a lot of tardies and absences, that's the first thing they look at on your transcripts. So if you're missing classes and you have trouble with, all these misconducts and conduct infractions and behavioral issues, they're not going to offer you because they don't want to deal with that unless you're the next Lamar Jackson. Now, if you are Lamar Jackson, which I'm not sure if we are. I haven't seen any guys tape, but congratulations if you are. But you need to make sure that you are keeping it easy for them. But they'll come to you, offer your scholarship, and then usually you have to go out there in the summers. If there's a school that you're interested in, you can do a campus tour. Like, this is Chicago Capital League, correct?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
This is the Chicago Capital League, correct?
No,
which Capital League?
This is national. This is for all Capital Leagues across the country.
Okay. But what I would say is what we used to do is we would go to a Georgia camp, we would go to Georgia Tech camp, we would go Bama camp, we would go Tennessee camp, and we would do that all. We would take a week and figure out when all these camps are. We take a trip with our coaches. We go to all these camps. Make sure you introduce yourself to the coaches. Put yourself in front of these people. If they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. But again, get out to those camps, get in front of those coaches, send emails. There's recruiting coordinators for all of them. You can literally just go and type in Tennessee football, Morgan State football, Howard, Hampton, wherever, Grambling State, Wisconsin football. There's recruiting coordinators. Just like, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm a sophomore. I'm giving you stats. 6'1", 180 pounds. I played safety, and send them your huddle tape, and they'll look at it, and they're not allowed to reply to you, but again, they'll put you in that, and coach may swing by your school and check you out. But I would say just be proactive in that, the same way that you're applying to for academic scholarships and everything. You got to reach out to recruiting coordinators and stuff like that. I hope that answers your question.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and move forward. Again, send questions in the chat if you need to. And thanks again to Brother Arrington Farrar for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yo. All right. So as we are the first PWI on a Capital League tour, we do just want to have, an open talk about it. And kind of just, really talk about how it is to be the minority of minorities on campus. And so I believe that Shannon and Will, are you guys leading this?
Yep. Okay. So I guess I can talk about I guess the first thing that comes to mind, which is the sense of community. My sister went to HBCU. I have family, friends, and a couple people that I went to high school with that went to HBCU, and they've kind of told me about their experiences and how, they've felt just the inclusive environment on the HBCU. Whereas on a PWI, there's a lot of white people, especially here in Wisconsin. And so you just kind of have to find your own community. And, that can be in a club that you're in, that can be in other organizations and Greek life. But, that community is here. You just kind of have to navigate that and, find that group of people. I don't know if Will, you had anything to say on that?
Yeah, I would say, well, I wanted to talk more about like one of the biggest things that I've gotten out of coming to a PWI. So like when I was in like a y'all position, one of the like I was conflicted between either going here or the Howard. And Howard is, the mecca of HBCUs and it's good or not. But like when you're thinking about like in a real world, PW or HBCU, predominantly black, but when you get into in the real world, it's predominantly white. And I think that that's PWI gives you a more accurate, representation of what the real world looks like. And I know for me as an accounting major, as a business major, there'll be plenty of times where I'll probably be the only student person of color in the room. And being at a PWI, that's something that I end up working with every single day. And I think that that's a valuable skill that you have to learn as a professional, but even just like in life, just walking or just being a normal person in the world where it's the harsh reality, but it is the truth. And I think a PWI teaches you that. And I don't think that, going to HBCU necessarily prepares you will not prepare you for the real world, but you can talk about how to, navigate with white people, how to be a minority, but once you're actually in it, that prepares you the best.
And just talking to Shannon's point about finding your place within the campus and the community, we have over 900 student clubs and organizations on campus. So that's anything from the chess club to, I'm pretty sure there's a cheese club where they used to meet every month and try out different cheeses. Like there's literally like anything you can imagine, like we have a club for it here. And so some of the black clubs, or minority clubs to highlight are, our BSU here on campus. We have a Wisconsin Association of Black Men. Has both Black men and women who come together, just to talk about the well-being of our community and how we can better it. There's a large part about, our Black Greek letter organizations on campus and how, we provide a lot of safe spaces for the rest of the Black community, just because, that's so important to us and to our culture. And so despite having smaller numbers than an HBCU, it's definitely homey. And I don't know if you guys could see in the video, but there we have barbecues, like we still kick it, we still have fun too. Like it's nothing different, but it's just more white people, which isn't a bad thing at all. So
yeah, no, that's a good point, Makai. And I think essentially what he's saying is we have a family here, and you're definitely able to find that. I was going to say I personally sit on the Multicultural Student Center grant board, and where I was going with that is that a huge benefit in going to somewhere like University of Wisconsin-Madison is we have so many resources available to students where you could do whatever. Makai said we have like 900 organizations, and the cool thing is if you don't see something that you like, you can start it yourself. And on this grant board, considering like COVID and everything like that, we haven't had a lot of grants submitted this school year, and we have $30,000 unallocated. That's just its exclusive purpose is for organizations at UW that cater to multicultural students to have events that support multicultural students on campus. $30,000 just exclusively for that, which is crazy. So those types of resources isn't something that you necessarily will be able to sometimes find at HBCUs. Not like digging them. My sister went to Hampton, and my mom went to Xavier. I'm a huge fan of them. But as you kind of were asking, Brother Murray, those resources, whether it may be financial for organizations, but also like academic, we have some of the most brilliant professors on campus the entire world. They're leaders in their respective disciplines. And if you really take advantage of what some of those academic resources we have, like Arrington was saying on campus, the doors that you can open for yourself are literally unlimited. And I think really the entire kind of like theme of what we're saying is you really have to take control of your own experience at UW-Madison. It can be amazing and it can really be the best time of your life. But I think there's a little bit more of an impetus for you to take control of it and take advantage of all the resources we have here.
Yeah, and just to add, Brother Murray also asked just any challenges with racism. And I think that's a big thing on this campus. And I'm gonna try to get through this pretty fast just for sake of time. But I was on the Black Student Union for my first 3 years here. I'm also a member of the Student Inclusion Coalition, which is a group that was formed last year specifically to be advocates for the multicultural community on campus. But racism does exist. It is something that we see in the world. It is something that we see in America a lot, as we all know, especially from the last year. And that's no different with UW-Madison. One thing about the campus is, like we've been saying, it is a PWI. And a lot of people that go here, this is their first experience, even experiencing people of color. So they deal with things in ignorance and things like that. But kind of like Glenn was saying, the school is really what you make it. And I think it's a good experience to go to a campus where there may be people who don't understand where you come from, because that's what it's going to be like in the real world. You know, there are people who things might happen, and they are upsetting. I think all of us have experienced something or we heard a story of something that might have upset us a little bit. But learning how to deal with that and learning how to protect yourself and protect your own energy in a way, or keep your own spirits up and stay focused, that's something that I think we all learn. I personally haven't experienced any overt racism on this campus, but I have heard a lot, like any overt racism, but I have heard stories of it. And I know that there's a lot of Black students who haven't, and there's also some Black students who have. But it's really what you decide to pay attention to that really makes your experience. And again, there's a lot of advocacy work being done right now on campus, and I've seen a shift in the culture. And as time moves forward, things will continue to get better and better.
I see a question in the chat of why choosing UW-Madison. And for me personally, and I tell everybody this when going to college and trying to get into colleges, go to the college that is showing you the most love. You might want to get into one college or another, but you might want to get in this college, but if this college is offering you this amount of money, showing you love and responding to you, doing all these things, why not go to the college that shows you more love? Like for me, I'm from Gary, Indiana. I'm nowhere near Wisconsin. And I wanted to not only get away from home, but also experience new things. But also I saw all the opportunities, all the things that are offering me. And I just had to take advantage of that opportunity. And for what it was, my sister, she went to a HBCU. She went to Spelman. And we kind of have different experiences in regard of why we chose the said school. But for me, or why I chose Wisconsin, is the multitude of opportunities. Like, it's one of the only places in the nation that offers its undergraduates to do research. It's like top 10 in one of its medical schools. I'm a biology pre-med, has a great sciences program, engineering program, and STEM programs. So it was just of what could I felt I could get most out of my opportunity at Wisconsin. There, like Israel and Glenn said, there are challenges going to a PWI. There might be situations to where you are one of the only Black people in your classroom. And that was really an adjustment for me from where I come from. So when I look at it, I personally, if you had to ask me, would I choose UW-Madison all over again? I would say yes. One, for the position it set me in, and I don't know if I can get any opportunities anywhere else.
For sure.
Sorry. Also to add to that, I came to Wisconsin for the degree. Like I was applying for engineering, so I applied to the top 25 engineering schools. Wisconsin at the time was like the fourth, so I applied to University of Illinois, Purdue, all schools like that. And so at the end of the day, the employer cares about the degree. They don't care PWI versus HBCU. So I applied for a position for myself. And then ultimately, I'm not in engineering anymore. However, I'm pre-health, pre-med, and I started seeing I could do all these research opportunities on campus. So at the end of the day, this was still the best decision for me to help me with my future. But it wasn't for the money or being close to home, but that stuff also helped.
I'll touch a little bit on my own experience about why I chose UW as well. We've talked about it, like you guys have heard us mention the academic like standing we have here at UW-Madison. Myself and Shannon, who's also in the chat, we're both a part of a nationally recognized personal finance program with ties to Chase Bank across the nation. Like I'm personally working at Chase right now because of my major, and they're setting us up for success in the future. But one of the reasons is that tight-knit community. Obviously, we're not as big as a HBCU. You're not going to see a Black man or a Black woman in every one of your classes, but the idea that you can go to like our Black Cultural Center, or you can go kick it with just Black people on campus and build that tight-knit community is one of the main reasons I came to campus. And since attending, I'm currently the president of our Wisconsin Association of Black Men, and we do a great job of connecting underclassmen with upperclassmen who are in the same major, have the same interests, and basically building that mentorship and that connection network for when you graduate. You can contact anybody that you've met on campus, and they're willing and openly able to help you secure jobs, internships. All in all, we really have built a tight-knit community on campus, and I think that's one of the best reasons to attend a PWI. I mean, we understand that we're the minority, so we try to stick together as much as we can and always have each other's backs. And you'll notice that the second you step on campus, wherever you're going to see a Black face on campus, we're smiling, we're waving, we're hugging, we're dapping each other up. We do everything we can to look out for one another.
So I can talk about my why a little bit. I think mine was primarily the scholarship that I received, which was the Powers Knapp scholarship. At first I didn't get it, but then somebody who did decided not to come here. So then a spot opened up and they contacted me about it. So then I made the decision to come here. It covers tuition for all 4 years. And then kind of going off what everybody else has been saying, making your experience here, like making the most of that. I think for me personally, that pretty accurately describes my experience. Just kind of coming here, you definitely have to make use of the resources that are available to you, and professors and advisors, they'll all encourage you to do that as well. And then I'll also say that coming to UW-Madison has held weight for me in the professional world. So applying to internships, making connections, and just networking overall. When you say, hey, I go to UW-Madison and I'm majoring in this, GPA looks like this, it carries some weight. So I think that's also a significant factor with some PWIs as well.
So it looks like we have one more question that we're gonna answer from the chat. And then, I don't know, Glenn or Manny, if one of y'all wanna, I don't know if Glenn's answering it in the chat but after that, we're gonna move on.
Yeah, so I got the name Emmanuel. So I saw a question here pertaining to a Kappa leaguer who's interested in attending a school of engineering or STEM. So speaking on the PWI versus HBCU conversation still, I know when I was applying to schools, personally, I was trying to get in the best school for whatever I wanted to accomplish in life. So just like Jacoby said, I applied to like the top engineering schools all around. and I was blessed with waivers to like apply anywhere and like really set the bar for whatever I wanted it to be. So I was applying to like Harvard and Stanford. I didn't get into those schools, but it was like I was trying to be the best at whatever I was gonna be. So that's why I did it. But also, like Brandon said, I chose the school that showed me love. So Wisconsin was it was a top engineering school, but it also like gave me the highest awarded scholarship possible. So it was like they believed in me already to give me this money and push me to what I wanted to do. And then once I got here, something I think at a HBCU you can grow comfortable with your position in life versus like at a PWI you're so like lost and you like need somewhere to go and like create yourself kind of. So I say like the opportunity to just join organizations within engineering. I came here as a mechanical engineering student, and I was joining these organizations for engineering. I joined this one called American Society of Mechanical Engineers, and it was real boring. But I joined another one known as the National Society of Black Engineers, and that's where I really like found my home, kind of. So I was introduced to all the Black engineering students here on campus, and it really like changed the way I looked at the field because I was hearing all these testimonies from either graduate students, people who graduated, and just having that conversation with students because they knew how hard engineering could be. But within that organization, I gained multiple opportunities for leadership. I currently serve as the vice president of our organization here for NSBE. And just in general, we get to talk to companies like very closely. Like our relationships with companies is extremely close. We invite companies such as Google, Georgia Pacific, PepsiCo, just a lot of like the top engineering companies that you'll want to like work for. We have very close relationships with them. They come and recruit heavily, take strong interest in NSBE because as companies are recognizing worldwide, you need diversity within your company. So they come to universities like a PWI and really search for that Black talent, that student of color talent. And that's like one of the reasons why I would say a PWI is a great way to go because you will have that opportunity to speak your spiel or talk your spiel. Like you'll have that opportunity. So it's up to you to take it. So it is what you make it.
All right. I think we're gonna move on from this. I think we just have a couple more slides, but we have a chance to answer more questions at the end, so just stay tuned. All right. Now we're just gonna talk a little bit about Greek life on our campus in general. So I'm gonna pass it off.
Okay, so as you guys know, we do have 9 MPHC organizations. So they are Alpha Phi Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Omega Psi Phi, Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta, and Iota Phi Theta. So on this campus, I think we have 6 of them. So we have us, we have the Alphas, we have the AKAs, we have the Deltas, we have the Sigmas and the Zetas. So something about us, you can see in this picture, we do collab events. So for example, in the winter, we'll collab with the AKAs and do like a breakfast with Santa. And then in the spring, we'll do a Valentine's Day thing with the Deltas. We also have something with the Alphas and the Sigmas where we do like different study groups. So I know on social media, there's a lot of beef to like, oh, we don't like them, we don't like them. But on campus, we're like one big community. We all picked our organizations for different reasons. We picked an organization that fit us the best. And we like all strive to help the Black community together instead of as individual groups.
And to continue on that, with the Divine Nine, they are historically Black organizations, and each one is rich in their history. We, the brothers here today, are a part of the Beta Omicron chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, which I would say is the greatest of the Divine Nine organizations, personally. But essentially, with all Black families, you'll usually find a tie to one or more of these organizations, especially if they're college educated. So personally, my grandmother, she plays Phi Beta Sigma at Texas Southern University, very well educated. And then within my immediate family, my father and my brother both played Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. They joined the fraternities. I myself recently joined the fraternity this past spring. Here on campus, like Jacoby was saying, it's very much a community. We like to collaborate with one another a lot. The ones not on campus would be Omega Psi Phi and Iota Sigma Gamma Rho. We don't have any of those yet, but hopefully somebody do something about that. But the ones who are here are strong in their presence, very welcoming. Would love to take on more people. We also have at our school, we have the MGC, so the Multicultural Greek Council. And with this, it's very diverse, so it's open to all students, just like the MPHC is, but I'm pretty sure there's over like 100 different Greek organizations here, very diverse and inclusive. We often collaborate with some of these organizations as well. I know we had a Chata night, something like that, planned with a Latin cultural organization in the past. It's like a dancing night. COVID kind of ruined things, you know, but we're looking to get those back up once it is hot again and we're free to go outside. But something that is also very important, pretty soon there will be plots made for MPHC organizations here at UW to celebrate the history and excellence of our university's chapters. So you should be looking forward to that coming soon. And just in general, yeah, our organizations are very close-knit, welcoming, and you'll feel like a real family within them.
So to answer the question that was just put in the chat, for all of like IFC and everything, I'm pretty sure the number for campuses differs, and so it all depends per organization. But I still think that it's 7 here to make sure that you have enough to start your own organization. I don't know if anyone else wants to correct me on that.
I could speak on that too, because I'm currently in an org. It really doesn't have a minimum requirement to be an org on campus. It really depends. If you want to be recognized on campus, you need to be a minimum of, I believe it is 10 general body members to be minimum, but there also are different requirements depending on if you want your org to be recognized, if you want them to be funded, which includes like paid positions like myself, my brother Johnson, Brother Akpan, we're all on paid e-boards right now where we end up getting paid for the work we do for our organizations. But for those that generally requires about 30 to 35 general body members, those can take a lot of time because you have to end up doing applications to the university to get those funds available to you.
And just point of clarification, Odwe was speaking on just organizations in general. On campus, the requirements for Greek life organizations are different. And I'm not exactly sure. Makai said 7, and that's what ours is. I'm not sure if that's the same for IFC. But I do know that there's been chapters on campus that have only had 3 members at one point. But I believe there's like they give you some time to get your numbers up and things like that. So.
Average class size, it can really vary. It depends on kind of what classes you're in. If you're in one of the more general requirement classes like an econ or an English class, you could be in a lecture as big as 200 students, I would say. But for like the more specialized classes, when you get more into your advanced majors, they're going to be around like the same kids. So it can really be 20 to 30. It also really depends on your major. Like I know we have our engineering students who are going into like more smaller classrooms, whereas I'm in like a personal finance major. I can be in a lecture of 100 kids for 1 hour and then jump into a small financial planning class of 20 students. So like the variations are extremely high.
I just saw a comment in the chat about access to resources and reserving rooms in specific. So I know through my organization, NASB, they like the different websites here that they have at UW to reserve rooms. Is like it's a real easy process. You really just go online, reserve the room you looking to use, and then like you get a certain amount of time to reserve it for, and you can use that room for whatever purposes you have. You just have to clean it afterwards. So we often have to do this to have our own general body meetings to bring the companies in. So we'd reserve a room in, say, our mechanical engineering building or our engineering hall building, and then the company will come. They may provide food or something. You just have to make sure you clean up afterwards, and your relationship, as long as you keep that relationship in good tact, then reserving rooms really won't be an issue. You also have resources like the library as well, where you can rent out laptops, or I don't know how it is now with COVID, but I know back in the day I used to rent a lot of laptops and use the computers often with no
You can
issue.
still rent laptops.
You can still do it.
Yeah, you just gotta go to the library.
Yeah, the resources here are pretty good in general though.
Yeah, we even have like a 3D printer that you could use for free at the library. Like stuff you don't even know why you'd use it, but it's just cool. It's just it's really pretty expensive.
We also have a lot of free tutoring on campus and free student help. There's different programs that help you be successful in your said classes a lot.
Do you have any more questions?
If we could have everyone come back on screen, if you can take your put your photo back up. We definitely want to make sure that we're answering any questions that you may have. From the young men, any questions? Any advisors, any questions? I guess my question is, for the young men, did you find this helpful? And you can come off mute. You can say yes.
I found it helpful.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Yes, very helpful.
I found it helpful.
Okay. Would you consider yourself going to a PWI versus HBCU, or are you leaning more towards HBU still?
For me, it's whatever college that I think is the best and the one that I know that I'll strive in.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to keep the same mindset. Just try to have a college that has what I need and what I want for my life.
Okay. We had a question in the chat.
Also, if you guys have any questions that I don't want to answer or ask right now, I'll put my email in the chat. You can email me. I've been here for 5 years, so I know a lot. And if I don't know, I can put you in contact with someone who does. So there's my email right there if you ever want to reach out.
We have a question that says, how many young men have an idea what they would like to major in? So any of the young men that are on the call on the Cap League programs, do you have an idea what your major would be?
Yes, I think business and administration because I want to become a real estate investor and stockbroker.
Okay. Anyone else? for my advisors, did you find this helpful? Okay.
That was very helpful.
Yes. Brothers, I'm the guide right chairman for the May Wheaton Alumni Chapter, which is in the western suburbs of Chicago. And I've been doing this for a while. And I've taken my guide right students to every major university in Illinois, Marquette, Indiana University. And this is the finest college tour that I have ever been on. I want to commend you for this work, for the way you've conducted yourself, the way you've answered the questions. This has been phenomenal. I'm proud of you.
We appreciate that, Brother Ingram. That really means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any last minute questions?
Yeah, Brother Murray, this is Brother Lee from Southern California, Gallery Director of San Santa Cruz Alumni Chapter and a Capital League Director. And I wanted to commend these young brothers. We actually have one of your alum in our chapter here in SoCal, and he joined, so he wanted to let you guys know he was proud of you guys repping the chapter there. But I thought you did a phenomenal job of just experiencing or sharing the difference between a PWI and a HBCU. And the key is finding the right institution that's best for you. So I thought you did a great job, and you guys have raised the bar. So continue and much success.
Any last minute comments? Hearing none, I want to thank the brothers of the Beta Omicron chapter. Again, outstanding virtual college tour brothers. I commend you for the work that you have put into this. To Brother Johnson, to all the brothers, even your chapter advisor. Again, this has been outstanding to our young men, to our advisors across Capital. This has been this has been recorded, and we will share this out to brothers across the country. Again, thank you so much. Brother Glenn, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, appreciate it, Brother Mary. Once again, Capital Leaguers and Capital League directors, once again, we appreciate it. We appreciate the Beta Omicron chapter to hosting their virtual college tour at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Just a little fun fact as far as me being in Texas. I'm at a middle school, and the name of our middle school is Ed Wilkie Middle School, and the reason why it's Ed Wilkie, the person Ed Wilkie, or Edward Wilkie, he went to University of Wisconsin in Madison, and our school mascot is also the Badgers. So go Badgers! But we appreciate you guys doing a good job on that. We always talk about training for leadership, and it shows what Beta Omicron is doing. They're training for leadership. So appreciate you, brothers, and I think we'll conclude that. Capital Leaguers, if you're still on, we will have another virtual college conversation on February 20th. Are you guys that are athletes in at your middle school or high school? This virtual college conversation will be the ins and outs of being a collegiate athlete or a professional athlete. We will have former college students, professional coaches, former professional athletes. So if you can be on that call, I think you will get a lot of information of being a collegiate athlete or a professional athlete. So try to be on that call, save the date, February 20th. Other than that, I know our national guy right chairman's not on the call. He had basketball practice. So we will conclude this, good brothers. Capital Leaguers, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Capital League directors, same thing to you. And that concludes our virtual college tour. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank
Yo.
God, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, gentlemen.